What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Teofimo Lopez, Romero. Here it goes, people. Romero claims that Teofimo Lopez injured himself in sparring before the fight, which affected his ability to be more flexible, to get the shots that he needed to get off, and it stopped the power punches from really landing like they supposed to land because Rolly was there and he witnessed the whole thing. Let me counterpunch. First it was the zone, right? Eddie Hearn with the zone. They had it out for Teofimo, which, that was one thing mentioned because it wasn't on ESPN, and because it wasn't on ESPN, they didn't have a fair shake. But let's look at the judges. Let's counterpunch that real quick. The judges have everything to do with the fight, not the networks. The judges were all from New York. Counterpunch. All of them were from New York. That's his second home, Brooklyn. Yes, he's from Florida, blah, blah, blah. His daddy's from Brooklyn. His people's from Brooklyn. Okay? By way of Honduras. Brooklyn. Right? So then it was... what else was it? I've been at the weight class too long. Remember, his dad said that, but he said that kind of blindly because he didn't have any explanation on why he said that. Again, oh yeah, my son has been in this weight class for 8 years, and we supposed to been moved up. I shouldn't have kept him there at the weight class too long. Okay, so is it the weight class? Is it the judges? Is it the networks? Is it the zone, right? The networks? Or is it the damn elbow now? Okay, now mind you, to be fair, Teofimo Lopez didn't mention anything about an elbow injury. Neither did his father, because I just counterpunched 2 videos back to back on Seconds Out where Teofimo Lopez said all the things that he could have said about what happened in that fight regarding his son. He said nothing was affecting him. He thought he won nine rounds out of 3, so he didn't bring up an elbow. He didn't bring up anything but the weight class difference, or the weight. He didn't even say weight training, but that's what he was trying to imply. So what Rolly is doing, he's coming to aid for his friend Teofimo, and hey, 2 birds together flock together. 2 birds from 2 birds of a feather flock together. There you go. And I think, and I'm looking at it, and you see the similarities between Rolly and Teofimo. Look at how they treated a close or a controversial decision. Really, this wasn't controversial, but Rolly's was. Remember when he fought Jackson Marinez? Remember that? When he got outboxed by a guy with a simple jab and beat his ass at least 10 rounds to 2, maybe 9 to 3, and that's giving it, that's stretching it. And what did he say? Oh, I don't need a rematch. He didn't do nothing. I don't need a rematch. Who said that same shit? Teofimo. Oh, I don't need a rematch. There's no need for rematches. I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on from this. Do you see the similarities? You see how like both of these guys hanging around each other, they sound the same? Didn't Broner start sounding like Charlo, and Errol Spence started sounding like Charlo, and Charlo started sounding like those, because they are all kind of in that same little clique. Okay? And that's what I see right now. I see that Rolly and Teo are in the same kind of mindset and clique. So they all think, they're all brash, they all talk a lot of shit, you know what I mean? But none of the things that they're saying really backs up anything. Because that fight that I saw a good fight. But Teofimo, he had no answer for the jab, and he had no answer for the hook. And you know how you answer a jab? First of all, head movement. Second of all, jabbing back. He didn't do any of that. Okay, so he got 8 to pieces. Why do you think his face looked the way it looked? Counterpunch. But now it's an elbow injury. I didn't see him deal with anything like that at all. But then again, Vasil Lomachenko could have an injury, and he could say, oh, well, me too. I had an injury too. But I hope and I imply Teo not to go down that same road just because his friend co-signed for an injury that may or may not even be the excuse. When you say someone injured something, there's a difference between injured something and sprained or hurt. Hurt and injured is different. Hurt means it's hurt and you can continue. Injury means, hey, you can't. That's the difference. So when people use that word injury, I think they're just really just talking out of their ass, and that, you know, they're just adding that. They're using that and they don't know the context of that. Okay, that's the difference: injury and hurting. Okay, but anyway, I don't think that'll be nothing that comes from it. I hope. But then again, if Teofimo Lopez uses that as an excuse, you know what he will be like? He will be like other fighters that did the same shit. Okay? So I'm going to leave that at that. And that is for another video. Tell me what you think about Rolly's confession of seeing Teofimo injured in sparring before the fight. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.